Good morning and welcome to another episode of Low Tech Health. Today is Meatless, Eatless, Mental Mushroom Mondays. I hope you all are having a wonderful beginning of your week. I'm outside in the morning because we got a power outage over here and I'm powerless, much like many patients when they're put under sedation and ventilation. It's something we don't really know as a general public, but whenever a person is ventilated, it's not just like we're blowing air in their lungs innocuously. In order for ventilation to work, there must be a tight seal. In order to make a tight seal, this tube goes down your neck. It's like a fish hook shape. It goes down your neck, and there's a bubble, a balloon on the end of that finger that blows up in your neck and occludes your airway in order to make sure that there's that Tupperware patent seal. That doesn't feel good. That makes you want to do this and pull it out. No matter how many times you've promised that you won't and that you've been told that it is necessary for you to remain alive, you will still try to pull that out. So a lot of us, almost all of us, require wrist reminders, restraints. You have to be tied down to the bed, and it looks barbaric. And just restraints isn't enough, because with the most sheer effort, unrestrained, you'd pull it out. With restraints, you're exhausting your body, you're flexing constantly because you're hypoxic. You believe your mind is hypoxic. You're being strangled from the inside like Darth Vader. So not only do your wrists have to be tied down to the bed like shackles while a fish hook is breathing for you through a little tiny straw, you also have to be medicated. And that medication does what? Mutes your respirations. It makes you not want to breathe. So, in short, in closing, being on a ventilator is really fucking bad. So if we can avoid that, that's awesome. That being said, it makes us look like Chicken Littles when we were screaming that we weren't gonna have enough ventilators and we didn't have enough masks and everyone was going to die. Worst thing possible. But with that, the first floor I was on, this reminds me, back in med-surg 4 years ago, they called it the innovative floor because you have to be innovative in order to make it work, because they had dialysis patients, stroke patients, and infectious disease patients. You got patients who never leave the hospital, patients who just got to the hospital for the first time, and patients who, I don't know if they should really be in a hospital among all these immunocompromised people, infectious diseases that we can't cure. So you got dialysis, stroke, infections, the floor for patients who can't have nice things. So you become very innovative being a nurse on that floor, going 6 to 8 patients deep every night. And I think that may have been what's happening with our healthcare system, because if you press it down, we'll become a diamond. A lot of these doctors, there's one in North Carolina that's really making me excited, because he says he's figured out a protocol that involves checking ferritin levels, which show inflammation in the body, which ferritin holds iron. Iron carries oxygen. When there's a fight for more oxygen, ferritin spikes to make there more iron available to make more blood, but it ends up choking the body. That's the cytokine storm that just chokes out the body and makes it drown. Measures the ferritin. When it starts to peak, loads the patient up with immunosuppressants, lots of them. He said hydrochloroquine didn't work because it's just not strong enough. So you load them up with a lot of interleukin-6 inhibitors, which basically just prevent the body from going into that cytokine storm. It prevents the body from defeating itself, from fighting itself, from trying to mute all that inflammation with nothing but just gunk, nothing but stoppage, nothing but histamines. After immunosuppressed, you check the CRP. The C-reactive protein measures inflammation in the body. Really only a valuable and remarkable sign if it's negative. If it's positive, it doesn't really tell you what's happening other than inflammation. But in this case, measuring the level of inflammation and seeing it decrease, fantastic fucking idea. So with this week's theme will be luck. I think it's very lucky that we're all here together and learning from this, because we could have had it perfect and we'd have never learned. We know that we're not perfect, so we needed to be tested. Unfortunately, we needed to be tested, and we're still in the middle of it. We're still being shown how our society decides to react. A lot of us denial, many stages of grief, because nobody wants to accept that our healthcare is a little shoddy, a little dangerous. And today's lesson will be cyanocobalamin, which is vitamin B12. It increases cell and tissue growth, hematopoiesis, oh yeah, making red blood cells, myelin, ooh, that's what sheathes your neurons and makes you faster connections. The myelin is the outside, the insulation of your nerve firings, which when they're better sheathed, they're faster, they're swifter. These lines are more entrenched. Your muscle memory is way better when you have myelin sheaths that are very strong. B12 helps rebuild that with work and practice. Yes, and malnutrition, malabsorption syndromes, B12, like pernicious anemia, is very low. Side effects of overdoing your cyanocobalamin, which is blue-green cobalamin, cobalt. Interesting. Swelling, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, anxiety, dizziness, uncoordinated nervous system movements, dyspnea, rhinitis, inflammation, general pain. That's what happens when you overdo your vitamin B12. So try not to just overload your vitamin and nutrition supplements during this whole catastrophe. And keep it positive. Try to stay lucky. Staying lucky is a skill. Treat your hands like little warriors in a video game. They have hit points. They diminish as you walk around touching things. It's just as they die and you are about to hit game over, you find a sink and you wash your hands. You wash your hands. And then the hit points go back to the top. But remember, you touch something, your hit points are starting to come down. Working this out. Maybe we can digitize this and augment reality so people will actually wash their hands. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.